when you get your license, they don't teach you in that first class how to start a business or how to actually do anything that you really need to do. But meanwhile, Adam, he knows sales. He's done sales before. He knows the contracts, especially on the buyer side. And it just kind of made sense that he would be the one that would do that stuff. And it kind of made sense with me with my writing and my love of writing to start doing the marketing.
You're listening to the Real Estate Sessions. I'm your host, Bill Risser. Listen in as I interview leaders in our industry, getting their stories and their journeys to the world of real estate. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 245 of the Real Estate Sessions podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for telling a friend. Today, I'm staying local as it can get, really, with my guest actually lives in St. Petersburg. And I'm talking about Karol. Amy and her husband, Adam, are realtors. They call themselves the A-Team, Amy and Adam, and they're with Coldwell Banker here in St. Pete. And I got to know the two of them as they both became realtors. They were brand new in the business, came to some sessions, trying to figure out how they were going to kind of work their business from the social side, the tech side. And I was able to give them a few pieces of advice that they were able to run with. They're doing great in their business. And it's going to be fun to find out the story, how the two of these Long Islanders made it down to Tampa and became successful realtors here in the Bay Area. So let's get started. Amy, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Bill. Thanks for having me.
How are you doing, Amy? I know we're sitting here doing a remote episode of the podcast, probably about no more than 15 miles away from each other.
Yeah.
but it's the way things are today. So we want to abide by the rules, and I think it's better for both of us. So that's a good thing. But let me get right to the point here with you. Like me and many other Floridians, I know you're not a native. We're both transplants. Now, I came from the West Coast. Where did you come from?
Well, I grew up on Long Island in New York.
Now that's a Long Island. It's over 100 miles. So let's narrow.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because like when I went away to school, people would say to me, "Oh, my cousin's from Long Island. Do you know so-and-so?" And I would say, "Well, it's 120 miles long. So chances are probably no, but
no."
Yeah.
So whereabouts?
So I lived in a town called Brentwood until I was about 14 years old. And then when we were 14, we moved to an area called Oakdale. And what's really neat about Oakdale is I lived in this part of town that was called Idlehour. And Idlehour is a former estate of William K. Vanderbilt.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
So what part of the island are we talking about? What county? What north, south? Help me out a little bit.
It's Suffolk County.
Okay.
And it's on the South Shore. Oakdale is actually, there's a river called the Connecticut River, and it kind of comes up into, do you know where Islip is? If you've been to Long Island, you might have flown into Islip MacArthur Airport. Yeah. So it's near there, and the Connecticut River kind of cuts in a little bit into Oakdale. So the river flows out into the Great South Bay, and then across from the Great South Bay is Fire Island, and then the Atlantic Ocean. So
gotcha.
Right on the water.
I did I did that thing that you do when you've never been to Long Island. You go drive the whole length of Fire Island and then cut back over to Long Island. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You went on Ocean Parkway.
I did. Yeah. It was great. Yeah.
So you actually probably went along Jones Beach and Robert Moses.
Yep.
And then so Robert Moses is technically Fire Island. But then when people hear about Fire Island, that's actually a whole section of the island where there are no cars. There's no roads.
Yeah, that's true.
Only boardwalks and stuff. So it's a really neat place, the South Shore of Long Island. So yeah, I grew up in there's this huge 70,000 square foot mansion. That's not where I grew up. But there's a huge 70,000 square foot mansion, and then there's all these other little buildings scattered around that were the clock tower and the palm garden and the horse stables and the cow barns. And then there's just these regular residential houses there. And so it was a pretty neat place to grow up in.
Wow, that's cool. I love Long Island. For me, it's got this incredible memories with my wife and my son, because with Cindy, we've been to 2 US Opens. Mm-hmm. Kevin and I, a year ago, were up there for the PGA Championship at Bethpage Black. So, I mean, the ability to hang out. And 2 of those trips, we went all the way out to Montauk. We traveled all the way out across North Fork, down the north side, the North Shore. I mean, it was just it's an amazing place. So I want to know from you. You've been gone for a while, right? 15 years, maybe.
Well, 2007 was when because we moved down in 2005, got homesick, went back in 2006, and then came back down in 2007, and that's when we settled down.
There was one redo, huh? One mulligan in there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what do you miss most about the island?
I miss so much about the island. I miss, obviously, we still have a lot of friends and family back there, so I miss the people. I miss what you were saying, the beaches, and just the North Shore of Long Island is so different from the South Shore of the island. And then the Forks, we spent a lot of time out on the North Fork. Love it there. I miss the food. I miss pizza and bagels and the seafood. I miss like the main streets and the marinas. And even so, every so often I'll miss the accents. I'll be out somewhere and I'll hear somebody talk and I'll say, oh, it's my people. I hear a Long Island accent.
It is a very unique accent, right? And I think you can turn it off and on, can't you? It's kind of like,
oh yeah. I always say, people will say to me all the time, well, you don't sound like you're from Long Island. And I'll say, I can talk to you like this if you want me to. I can, Bill, I can do this whole podcast with you and talk like this.
Wow.
I'll drink my coffee and talk about my dog, but
that's awesome. Okay. No, you don't have to. I believe you. So let's think you're growing up on the South Shore. What's 15-year-old Amy going to grow up and be? What'd you want to do?
15-year-old Amy, much like Amy today, didn't really know what she wanted to be when she grew up. I always thought, no matter what age I was, I always thought that I would be a writer. I didn't think that would be my job, but as a kid, I was always, yeah, I'll write something one day. That'll be something that I'll do. I always loved animals. So at one point in time, I thought I would become a vet, but I didn't ever want to see the animals suffer. So didn't end up doing that. Then I thought I would become a pet psychologist. I don't know what turned me on to that. That obviously never materialized into anything.
I wouldn't quite say it didn't materialize into anything. We'll talk about that later.
So. Oh yeah, that's true.
All right.
I saw the Julia Roberts movie, My Best Friend's Wedding, and she was a food critic in that movie. And I thought that would be the best job for me because, writing and eating and writing about food, that would be amazing. So yeah, I really had no idea at 15 what I would end up doing. Wow. I never aspired to be either of the two things that I became.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that path a little bit. You are the second person I've interviewed that is you went to, I'm going to butcher this name because every time I say it, it never comes out a different way, but you went to Quinnipiac?
Yeah.
So you're
I say Quinnipiac. Now you got me. Quinnipiac is how I would
Quinnipiac. Say. So you're a Quinnipiacian, mm-hmm. right? So was it Bobcats basketball that got you to go there or was it something else?
Well, actually, when I went there, it was still Quinnipiac College.
Okay.
So it wasn't even a university yet when I went there. And we weren't the Bobcats either.
Really?
So we were the Braves.
Okay. That makes sense.
So so they retired that name. I think it became a university sometime around 2000. And I think that's when they also switched over to the Bobcats.
Okay.
So when I was there, we were the Braves. And I actually did go to basketball games a lot, but I wasn't attracted to Quinnipiac for sporting reasons. There's probably like 4 specific reasons why I went to Quinnipiac. First was it was a very, very small school. I think there were maybe only, probably at the time that I went there was maybe 3,000 students.
Wow.
And I had gone to an all-girls Catholic school from 7th grade through 12th grade, and I graduated with 112 girls. So I knew that I wanted a small college. I also knew that I wanted to go away, but be close to home. And so Connecticut was the perfect place to do that because from Oakdale to Hamden, Connecticut was maybe a 2.5-hour drive without traffic. Yeah. Or I could just get somebody to drop me off at the Bridgeport ferry and take the ferry into Port Jeff and come home, which is a lovely way to travel back and forth to school. Right. So that was nice. I have a big sister who lives in Connecticut. And so at the time, my niece and nephew were little. So going to school there allowed me to hang out with her and be around my niece and nephew and also do my laundry and get a home cooked meal if I wanted.
Perfect.
And then, it's a college campus in New England. It's It's beautiful, Quinnipiac. It's at the base of a mountain. The Sleeping Giant Mountain is literally right across the street. So you leave the campus of Quinnipiac and you walk across the street and there's a mountain there. I took hike. It's called the Sleeping Giant. I took hiking the Sleeping Giant to satisfy my PE requirement.
Wow.
And in the fall, when the colors changed on the mountain, or if it snowed, it was beautiful there. So.
And English major, I would imagine.
Yes, I was.
Yeah. No, that's good. I've said it many times on this show. In fact, I said it last week. I think writing is an incredibly important skill that many people think they're great writers and they're not. Yeah. And so you take that to a whole nother level though. You end up teaching English.
Yes.
Yeah. Was it English or literature? What's that path look like?
So I left Quinnipiac and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I still didn't know what I wanted to be. I did think, well, maybe I'll become an English professor. And I had a friend whose father was a math professor at Quinnipiac. And he said to me, you don't want to be a professor. Do you know how hard it is to get a job as a professor? You basically have to wait for some old guy to die. It could be in like Indiana, and that's where you have to move. It's really difficult to get a job as an English professor. So I thought, okay, well, what else am I going to do? So remember how I mentioned there was the 70,000 square foot mansion in Oakdale?
Sure.
That actually eventually became a college. It was called Dowling College.
Wow.
That's actually where Adam got his degree. We weren't at school together at the same time, but he got his degree there. And I went there one day and I signed up for grad school.
Wow.
Because I didn't know what else to do with myself. So I went down to the college and got some pamphlets and brochures and decided that I was going to get a master's in reading and special education, because I knew to be a teacher on Long Island is a good job. The teachers are paid very well on the island. And I thought I'll have job security. And with this degree, I'll be even more marketable than just a K through 12 certification, because it's very competitive to get a teaching job on the island. So I thought if I have this reading and special ed background, then that will give me the edge. And so I started going to grad school and doing that. And I really thought that I was going to utilize the reading portion of it more, because I was always just such a word nerd and loved books. I was always reading. So I thought that's something I have a passion for. So I'll do that. I'll, help kids and become a reading teacher. But to make a long story short, I went the total different direction and I used the special ed portion of the degree. And when I first graduated, I got a job and I was doing home-based behavioral intervention services for children ages birth to 6 who had autism.
Wow. Wow.
So this is a story, Bill. I had been dating a guy all throughout high school. Obviously, we didn't go to high school together because I went to an all-girls school. So I dated this guy all through high school, all through college, and even in grad school. And he eventually gets a job and becomes friends with this guy named Chris. And Chris starts coming and hanging around with our group of friends. And one day, Chris brings this guy, Adam, with him. And I meet Adam and just kind of, hello, hi, nice to meet you. Nothing comes of it. I meet him again a second time. We have a nice long conversation over a bowl of pretzels at a party. And I remembered thinking to myself, he's a nice guy. He's a smart guy. He's really funny, kind of cute, but can't think or feel anything for this guy. But he's really handsome and he's really funny and he's really smart, but you can't be thinking anything like that. And then I don't see him for a little bit. And then April comes around and the guy that I've been dating forever proposes to me.
Okay.
The look on your face was kind of like how I felt, because I thought, I guess I knew that this was coming, but I don't really think that this is what I want.
Whoa.
But when you're actually in the situation, it's kind of, you feel like, well, I can't say no to this person, but really gotten myself in a pickle because I don't really think that this is what I want. But I said yes. And that night we went out we had this big group of friends and we said, let's all meet at this bar. We're going to celebrate because we got engaged. And we show up at this bar and who happens to be there but Adam. And my friend Jenny O from Comac actually was there. And she goes up to the band and says, my friend Amy just got engaged. Can you play a song for them? And the band says, sure. And they played the song called Your Love by the Outfield.
Okay. Yep.
Where the chorus is, I don't want to lose your love tonight.
Yep.
I don't know why you would play that song for a couple that just got engaged,
Ooh.
but that's the song that they played for us. And I danced to it with Adam. And I said to myself, this is the guy I'm going to marry.
Wow.
Now I just got to figure out how to
Oh, no.
undo what I've done today and
wow.
See if I can make this happen.
Oh my. I did not know that story. So I'll put it this way. I can't wait to see Adam again because I'm going to start singing really loud in a high falsetto. I don't That's funny. Funny and not good for the other guy, but
no, it wasn't.
But you made the right choice. I'm good. Congratulations for being strong enough to do the right thing. Seriously.
Well, yeah,
it's important.
It took a long time because it's a stressful thing to have to do, and I didn't do anything about it right away because we had this whole group of friends, including that guy Chris. We all had. It's popular on Long Island to do summer shares in the summer. You get, when you're in your 20s, you get a house in the Hamptons or a house on Fire Island. We had a house on Fire Island, a big group of us, and every weekend you go out to the house and people bring friends, and so Adam would come out all the time, and I just kept falling more in love with him. But I was like, I don't know if he feels the same way about me. I think I feel the same way about him. I don't know, and I don't know what to do. And I remember thinking, well, when this is over, I definitely have to do something. I don't want to do anything now because it'll just cause all this drama. But at the end of the summer, I'm going to do something. And the last weekend of the summer share house, that Sunday was Sunday, September 9th, and that Tuesday was 9/11.
Oh my. And
that was just really,
wow.
That just changed everything.
That changes everybody's life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So I'm gonna leave that behind now because I have a million questions about the other guy, but I'll save that for another time.
He's fine.
Is he married
with a child?
Okay,
yes.
Good. I feel better. Yes. I feel better. Thank you. Let's talk about. So you end up in St. Pete. You end up teaching at St. Petersburg College, but Adam goes a different direction. Does he? He was a lender, right? So I'd like to get that flow.
So he was a lender on Long Island too.
Good.
This was when I was doing the behavioral intervention services. And then, so we eventually get together. And so I guess when we moved down here for good, it was 2007. And that's right before the mortgage crisis. And so Adam sees that coming and leaves lending and goes into more banking and insurance.
Okay.
And when we moved down here, I applied for a job at SPC to supervise SPC students who were doing their student teaching placements. So that was the job that I applied for. But I get a phone call from this woman who says, we have an opening we need a reading teacher. Would you like to teach reading? And I said, I don't know how to teach. I don't know how to teach reading. She said, but you have a master's degree in reading. And I said, I've never taught in a classroom. I've been sitting at a little types table for the past few years with 3 and 4 year olds. I don't know anything about getting up in front of a classroom. And she said, oh, you'll be fine. We'll help you. You'll have the summer to prepare. It'll be okay. So I thought, well, all right. Will it turn into anything? Because it was an adjunct position. And she said, it could eventually turn into a full-time position, but we can't guarantee that. So I thought, okay. So I took the job as the adjunct, and then because of my bachelor's in English, they let me teach the writing class. So these were all like first year courses, and the reading and the writing classes were like these remedial courses. So the students had to get through me before they could take their college level courses. I did that. I eventually got the full-time position, and then I got tenure.
Wow.
And I was like, this is amazing. I don't think this is what I want to do.
So this gets us to probably right before I meet you for the first time, because you both Adam and you decide that real estate's going to be the way you're going to go, and you're going to go in together as a team. You're both going to get your license, and you're going to create what's been a very successful team for 3 years. Are we at 3.5 years?
We got our licenses in fall of 2018, and we always say that we started in December, like when we first closed our first sale, which was December 28th,
Wow, it's only
2018.
been, wow. I thought it's much longer than that for some reason.
No.
Wow.
So it feels like.
I love talking about what you've accomplished. I think, first of all, I think you knew how you were going to do this, right? Because Adam handles all he's
the
like
boring stuff.
Well, yeah, negotiations and numbers. How's that?
Yeah.
But you're marketing, and I like a word you use, wordsmithing. That's your job, to kind of create the marketing side of things. I love the way this has come together. Talk about, was that like just a no-brainer from the beginning?
Yeah, because at one point so eventually Adam goes back into mortgages, and now he's working, and he's the in-house lender for Coldwell Banker, actually for the office where we are now, and out of a few other offices. So he becomes the lender, and I keep thinking, I want to change. I need a change. And we had actually gone to real estate school back in New York in 2005. But then when we decided to move here, we kind of abandoned that. And then, like I said, that was right before the crash. So that wasn't a great time to get into real estate. So now I'm at school and I'm thinking, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Education's changing. I don't really think that this is for me. So, we get our licenses. And when we first start, when you get your license, they don't teach you in that first class how to start a business or how to actually do anything that you really need to do. But meanwhile, Adam, he knows sales. He's done sales before. He knows the contracts, especially on the buyer side. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of made sense that he would be the one that would do that stuff. And it kind of made sense with me with my writing and my love of writing to start doing the marketing. And then I found you, and you were the one that was like, you need to be doing, social media and follow this person and follow that person, which I'd kind of been starting to do myself anyway. Mm-hmm. I just didn't really know what I was doing in the beginning. But yeah, once I met you've created this monster.
Well,
I always like to say.
Look, first of all, you're like the best result that's ever happened from my stuff in 10 years. Oh. So that's why I had to have you on the show. I mean, your note taking was incredible. You took pages and pages of notes at our sessions, and it's really been fun to watch you really grow into somebody that I did it again today, and you've had other people do it, where I say, oh, follow Amy Karol, A-Team. Yeah, go follow her stuff on her stories and watch what she does. I think, for you mentioned it. There were certain people that you followed, certain people that kind of helped you grow. Mm-hmm. Let's give them a little shout out. Who are those people? Who do you still connect with today?
Katie Lance.
Okay.
Sue Pakey Benson.
Yeah.
She's been amazing. The fact that Sue Pakey Benson even knows who I am just still amazes me, and she's great. Sean Carpenter. Love Sean Carpenter. I love everything about his message and his philosophy. And when I connected with him, both Adam and I were like, this is who we are. This is who we want to be. This is what we want to put out, building the relationships. Yep. It's not about sales, and selling yourself. It's about building those relationships. So Sean Carpenter, Chelsea Pites. I love Chelsea Pites. And then another one that you told me about and you connected me with was Eric Larkin, the Cocoa Beach Insider.
Yeah.
So we've become Instagram buddies. We go back and forth. And he's another one that I'll reach out to. Just yesterday, I was on YouTube looking at his videos. And I thought to myself, I really love what he's doing with his YouTube channel. And he's got all these followers, he's got all these views, and his videos look great. So I send him a message, what are you using to do your videos? And the amount of, he sends me back all these things, showing screenshots, showing me what he does. And I said, it's very fancy. It's very above anything that I think. I mean, the amount of time that he's putting into it, but it's working for him. And I said, thank you so much. You've always taken the time to answer my questions. And he always says, you just got to do it for someone else. You just have to pay it forward. So it's been amazing. Yeah. The community of people that I've found.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. You, because this is so fresh for you, tell me, how tough is it? How tough was it starting pretty much from scratch? Were there doubts? Was there moments that you had to really fight through, feeling?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was really hard, I think, for two reasons. One is I had a tenured faculty position, at a school. I had a guaranteed paycheck. I had health benefits. I had Fridays off. If I had to work on a Friday, it would be to go for a 2-hour meeting. If I worked in the summer, it was an 8-week summer session. And then I'd have weeks off in the summer. I had 5 weeks off at Christmas. I mean, so much time off. And it's funny because those were always the times where I would say, I'm so bored because Adam's working. And I would think to myself, I have all this time off. I could be doing something right now. I get this paycheck, but this is all I'll ever make. Like I could be working. I'm willing to work hard and I could make so much more. And I'm so bored and I have all this time. And then when I got into real estate, I was like, we never have a day off. There's no break. If you go from the morning to night, there's never any time off. What did I do? What have I done? So there was that. And then the fact that we're a husband and wife team. It's hard always being the A team. I just said this the other day, in 2020, I said, 2020, this is going to be the year that we're going to figure out how to really make it so that there's a balance between the A team and Adam and Amy. And the universe was like, here you go. Here's 2 months.
Yeah, figure it out. Yeah.
To figure it out. So.
Yeah. You mentioned you talked to Eric about, what he's doing over there. Is there another, because I think you've done this great work with Instagram. It's super fun to watch, and really everybody out there, I'll make sure that in the show notes, you'll be able to follow what she's doing. It's super cool. What's next? What's the one you want? If you had to pick one, another channel, another avenue, what is it?
I don't know. I mean, it's going back to what you said before about, is it hard? It is really hard in the beginning because, like I said earlier, you're not taught how to start your business. You're not taught how to actually do real estate. So you feel like I have to learn everything. And that's, in one respect, that's what's so easy about us being the A team, is that Adam's doing some things and I'm doing, other things. So I have time to focus. And so in the beginning, I think I felt like, well, I have to do Facebook and I have to do Instagram and I have to have a YouTube and I have to do LinkedIn. Like I have to have all of them. And then I kind of learned what I liked to do the best, which is Instagram. That's where I have the most fun. And not that I don't pay attention to the other things. I still post things there. But right now I'm really having fun with Instagram and I really like stories. I'd like to get back to YouTube. I read Karen Carr's book and I'm always, like I said, I'm inspired by what Eric's done with Cocoa Beach. So I think for now, I'll probably stick with Instagram, but I think that I definitely do have this goal to make the YouTube channel something more than it is. But, in the beginning, I was very much into doing the videos and I kind of just got not sick of doing them, but they take a lot of time. And it starts to feel like, sometimes it can start to feel like, well, am I in the business of making videos and, posting to IG stories, or am I in the real estate business? Like when I spoke to Eric yesterday and he, the video specifically that I commented on, and he told me how much time he spent on it, it's a lot of time. So I figure right now I'll just kind of stick with Instagram.
Okay. One of the things people will see after they follow you is going to be you have this passionate love of animals, most especially dogs, and you've created. I love the community you're doing, the community work you're doing there, what you're creating. There are many agents who don't get this till way too late, but it's something you're super passionate about. Yet it can also help your business, and that's Bindy's Buddies. So Bindy was your corgi, right?
Yes, she was our corgi.
Yeah, and so let's talk about what you've created there.
So Bindy was our dog, and she was, I don't know if you know anything about corgis, but they're just like these little balls of stubborn personality. They just have great personalities. They're amazing. And we had her for 9 years, and towards the end of her life, she had it rough. She was diagnosed with facial paralysis, which was fine. And the doctor told us bothered us more than it bothered her, but she just, like the sides of her mouth would droop and her tongue was stuck folded back. So she had difficulty eating and drinking. So that was kind of rough. But then she was diagnosed with a heart condition. And it literally happened in front of us. She was eating dinner and then she collapsed and stood up and looked at us like, what just happened? But then she did it again. So we took her to the vet and they diagnosed her with this heart condition. And it was just heartbreaking because we knew that we wouldn't have that much time left with her. And I think it was maybe twice that we had to take her to the emergency vet while she was sick. And both times that we were there was one time we were there when there was a girl crying because she didn't have the money to pay for her dog and whatever it was that her dog needed. And then another time we were there and the pet needed all this care, but the owner had to work. And here were Adam and I saying, like, I have this teaching job where I have these set hours. I'm off on Fridays. Adam has a flexible position. We have all the time to take care of her. We would do anything to save her, but she can't be saved. And that's very depressing and makes you pretty mad. So we always used to say, well, when the time comes that we lose her, we know it's going to be sad. We'll do something in her honor to make this a happy thing. So when we lost her, we put together this pet food drive, and we called it the Bindy's Buddies Pet Food Drive. And we did one on the campus of SPC where I worked, and we did one in our neighborhood. And I think the campus food drive, we got over 500 pounds of food. It was like one of the most successful, because everybody loves animals. So it was like one of the most successful drives that they did. And we went around, we put signs in the neighborhood, and we put something on next door, and we got hundreds of pounds of food there. And we donated it to the Senior Pet Connection at the Humane Society of Pinellas. And that's like Meals on Wheels. So it's for homebound and low-income senior citizens, and it delivers pet food to them. Yeah, so if they can't leave the house or if they don't have the means. So what happened was we did it this one time, and then I started getting these messages on Nextdoor. Hey, I bought all this pet food, but I forgot to bring it down to your event. Is there any way that you'll still take it? So I said, yeah, just leave it outside and we'll drive over and we'll get it. So then it turns out that we have maybe like another 100-something pounds of food sitting in our house. So I said to Adam, this is like 3 or 4 weeks later that people are still offering to give me food from that one time that we put the sign up. I'm just going to keep asking for it and see what happens. So I put this thing on Nextdoor and I said, hey, we did so well with the pet food drive, and some of you said that you still have food. How about we drive around on the first Monday of the month? You leave your donation outside and we'll pick it up. And the neighbors in our community, they've been outstanding, and they do it. They know on the first Monday of every month, I have, a list of regular neighbors who will donate, and they leave their food outside, and they've just been amazing. Before the pandemic, or, before the quarantine, the Humane Society reached out to me and said, we're really worried. We think that we're not going to have enough donations. The people in the program, they're older, they have health concerns, they can't get out and get food. They're really worried. So I put something on Nextdoor. Our neighbors donated over 1,000 pounds of food that month. So, wow. And then friends and family are always, here it's for Bindy's Buddies. So we lost Bindy in March of 2017, and we did our first collection in April of 2017. And we've donated over 13,000 pounds of pet food. That's awesome. In honor of that little corgi.
That's cool. I think that's just amazing. I love that story. And I think that it comes from your heart. But I need to ask the real estate related question. Has that opened some doors for you as the A team in your neighborhood?
It's funny. I've never mixed the two of them.
You won't? It just doesn't happen?
I have on our Instagram account, I do have a little story highlight with Bindy's Buddies. Mm-hmm. And I will ask through there for people to donate. But I've never gone to any of my Bindy's Buddies people and said, will you donate? Okay. I don't know. I feel like, and I've said to Adam too, I've said, there are a lot of people in this neighborhood. They know us. They see us on Nextdoor and they're like, oh, that's the Bindy's Buddies people, but they don't know that we do real estate. That, could be a good thing, but I don't know. I feel like I want to keep it pure. Okay. I completely respect that. That's awesome. Yeah.
I also think that part of building relationships and solving problems and the things that you're doing, as Sean would say, it's okay. It's okay for those two to mix in some really, organic, authentic way, not in a salesy way.
Right. I feel like if it happens, there are people now who are starting, because they've started to follow me on my regular Facebook. Right. And so, oh, hey, I didn't know that you do real estate. And then when it comes up like that, perfect. Then I don't mind. But I don't want to do something like send out a Bindy's Buddies thank you card with, our business card or anything like that.
Agree.
So
completely agree. Kind of lose that feeling. Wow. Yeah. Well, look, Amy, it's well after the half hour I've asked of your time. So what's coming next. I think you listened to the podcast. So you've had plenty of time to think about this, but what one piece of advice would you give a new agent just getting started?
And I knew you were going to ask me, so can I give two pieces
Sure,
of advice?
you know I always say yes to that. So
maybe one on behalf of me and one on behalf of Adam.
There you go. Go ahead.
I would say first and foremost is find mentors, and more than one if you can, and people who have different strengths. So we're lucky enough in our office, there's a group of agents, in person before the pandemic, they would get together every Thursday morning, but it's a group of seasoned agents, and every Thursday they get together, and they were kind enough to invite us and a couple of other new agents in, and every Thursday we get together and talk things over, and people that have been selling in St. Pete for years and years, and then all the people that I mentioned before, with social media. So it's really important to find people who are willing to help you out. And there are a lot of people who are willing to help you out, which is nice, because I know in the beginning I thought, well, why would they want to help me? They're trying to sell real estate too, but they are willing to help. So find mentors. And then the other thing is, it's very easy in the beginning because you don't really know what you're doing and you're not that busy because you don't have a lot of customers in the beginning, to get very busy doing stuff like learning and watching lots of webinars and taking classes and taking notes, and then you take the time to organize the notes, and then, oh, that made me think that I want to watch this, and you get so busy learning, but you're never doing anything that's going to lead to getting business. And I feel like I've seen that with some agents now during the pandemic. There's a lot, there's a lot of agents who are doing a lot of learning, but what's going to happen, now things have started to open up again. And so what were you doing to generate business during that time? So I think it's important that new agents, figure out, here's 3 things that I think I would enjoy doing and that I would be good at doing that could generate leads, and just make it a point to every day do those things, because it's important to learn, but then you're just kind of sitting at home in front of your laptop and, listening to all these other people tell you what to do, but you got to get out there and do it. So, and give social media a try. It works.
Amy, if somebody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Instagram, ateam_sells_FL. Or you can look me up by Amy Karol, but the last name is Karol. So it's Amy Karol with a K. I'm on Facebook, and I think my account is set to public, so you can find me on Facebook. I'm also on LinkedIn, and also you can email me. It's amy.karol with a K @FloridaMoves.
Amy, thank you so much. And I know Adam's not there right now. Make sure you say hi to Adam for me. And I'm so glad you guys ended up in Florida. I'm really happy that you ended up at Lorna's office on that day. Yeah. It's been so much fun getting to know you two and watching your success and running into you on Beach Drive on random Saturdays back when the town was more open. So thank you so much for sharing some time with us today and sharing your story.
Thank you. And we're so grateful that we met you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Sessions podcast. To leave a review or rating, go to ratethispodcast.com/RE sessions. You can also subscribe to the podcast at your favorite podcast listening app. Finally, you can go to therealestatesessions.com and subscribe to our email newsletter and be notified whenever a new episode is released.